Shalom. All praises to Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai Barakathum. Peace, blessings, and salutations to you, hopefully elect out there, whomever you may be. And just watching a series of videos, because I'm gonna go ahead and get this real quick. Because I did a video yesterday, and in the video, I mentioned about how, because here it is, Jake, they count the Lord slack. They don't, 2/3 of Jake, they don't think that Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is gonna do the things that he said he was gonna do. But to the hopefully elect, we see that the Lord he's pretty much holding up, or I'll say rather, he's fulfilling his word. He's coming through on his word. Because I remember talking about how, it's just beautiful, the fact that, again, man, the Lord, on the behalf of the elect, he's speeding things up, and the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, he's causing things to happen on the earth, and this is why, hey, through faith, we believe that this is it. We're at the end of this. All the tall tale signs are there. I'm gonna read this real quick in 2nd Ezra. Just bear with me real quick. 2nd Ezra, chapter no, that's not it. 2nd Ezra. Let me try this. Because one of those tall tale signs, oh yeah, that's it. Yeah, I think this is it. One of those tall tale signs being uproars of the people, right? 2nd Ezra chapter 9 verse 1. He answered me then and said, measure thou the time diligently in itself. And how do we measure the time? By prophecy. And again, this is why we wholeheartedly believe that we are at the end of this thing, man, because we're watching prophecy being played out. Like I said, the Lord, he's fulfilling what he said he was going to do. It says, and when thou seest part of the signs pass, which I have told thee before, then shalt thou understand that it is the very same time wherein the highest will begin to visit the world which he made. And again, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is clearly visiting this earth. And like I said, the spirit of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai is causing things to happen. Because, all these things happening, it's not a coincidence. That was another video I did not too long ago. I was doing a commentary, on a guy's page. He did a video about basically touching on pretty much everything that's going on and how it's all happening at the same time. And he was pretty much talking about how this can't be a coincidence. And he's right. It's not a coincidence, because again, Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushai, he's stirring things up. He's causing things to happen on the earth. Because hey, he's getting ready to redeem us, man. Verse 3, it says, therefore then there shall be seen earthquakes and uproars of the people in the world. All right. And all type of protest uproars of the people have been taking place throughout the four corners of the earth, man. You know, and, you know, it's like, what is it going to take for you Jakes? You know, because pretty much the same thing that's going on over here in America, Babylon the Great, is pretty much going on. The same thing is pretty much going on in other places, you see. And, you know, and the fact that Americans are pretty much, man, they're so docile, they're so simple, they're just so out of tune, and so to say. They you know, these Americans, man, they're just dumb. You know, because if they had any sense, you know, if they had any sense, man, they'd be tearing this place up. Like I said, the same things that's going on over here is pretty much going on in other places. And you see a lot of these places, man, they see what's going on, and this is why you have a bunch of riots going on, protests. Pretty much all hell's breaking loose. So I'm gonna play a few videos just to, you know, because again, you know, these things are playing out, prophecies being played out. You know, the uproars of the people in the world, as I just read. I'm gonna play a series of videos, you know, and get a few more precepts. So without further ado, I'm going to play this first video here. It says, cost of living protest held across Ireland as inflation reaches 4-decade high. You see, and again, that's going on here as well, you know. Rent increases, all this increase, the cost of everything's going up. And like I said, man, if these Americans, if they had any sense, you know, then they'd be tearing this place up.
In recent decades, Ireland has become one of the most expensive countries in Europe. Recent increases in fuel, food, rent and energy has left many workers with little disposable income. On Saturday, people took to the streets in Dublin to express their anger, including pensioners who are really feeling the squeeze.
We have a levy on our pensions to make up for the money that was stolen out of our pensions by the government. What is happening now is we're suffering state-sponsored elder financial abuse.
All professions are affected by the rising cost of living, and many nurses are leaving the sector.
Well, right now we're finding it's very difficult to retain nurses and midwives, particularly in large urban centres where the cost of rent is taking well over 50% of their wages. And then we have a huge issue with recruiting nurses from non-EU countries who come here. They look at a salary, they make big life decisions, and then they realise they're paying more than 50% of that in rent, in transport, and then the added problem of not having available accommodation close to where they work.
Even public servants who actually work for the government are struggling to make ends meet due to the cost of living crisis.
For many of our members who are in lower pay scale groupings, the reality is rent, for instance, has become a major problem in this country. Housing is a major problem. Young workers that I represent simply cannot afford either to pay the rents or to save the money to purchase their own properties. And then that has been compounded by the increase in foodstuffs, in the cost of energy.
The organisers of this nationwide protest say an emergency budget from the government is crucial just to stop an already difficult situation getting worse.
People have already lost thousands in income. We have record numbers of people who are homeless. We have people making choices between heating and food. We need an urgent package of measures to deal with the cost of housing and rents, the cost of basic goods and energy, and to ensure that pay and income increases match the spiralling cost of inflation.
This protest is taking place here in Dublin.
So what's it going to take for you Jakes to understand that you're getting duped, man? We're all getting duped, you know? What's it going to take for Jake Because again, like I said, this is going on over here in the States. The cost of everything going up. But the way to maintain that the fact that everything's going up, you know, because the paychecks, man, the paychecks are staying the same, you know, and people are put in these situations to where, you know, they have to make these decisions to either pay for gas or pay for food, you know. And soon, man, it's going to get to a point where, you know, hey, it's just speaking on gas alone, man, you know, gas is going to get so ridiculous. You know, people are just going to say the hell with it, man. And, you know, people are going to stop going to work. You know, people are going to stop traveling. You know, which the scriptures talk about that, man, how there's not going to be no work in Egypt. Get that real quick. Because again, you know, what is it going to take for you Jakes? Because for the most part, these gun-toting Edomites, these patriotic Edomites, and a handful of the other heathens, you see, a lot of these heathens, man, that set up shop here in America, you know, they made their money, you know, they got rich off of Babylon, and they packing up shop, man, and they're going back home because there's no money to be made there's no money to be made here anymore. You know, a lot of these heathens, they're packing up shop and they're going back to their countries because they see the downfall of this place. There's no more money to be made here anymore, man. And going back to what I was talking about, these Edomites, these patriotic Edomites, they see, like I said, for the most part, a lot of them, they see what's going on, and they're not with it. They're not having it. You know, it's you Jakes, more than anything, you have the slightest clue to what's going on, you know, and by the time you realize it, it's going to be too late. It's going to be too late, man, because, you know, I went over this with the, you know, when, maybe, with the brothers, you know, we had we was doing the lesson going into how, you know, I touched on how basically, because, you know, America, again, you know, these Americans, the scriptures talk about how Babylon, all right, you know, she's just living carelessly, you know, just thinking all the hell that's breaking loose around the world. These Babylonians, they don't think it's going to come here, but when it does, because it's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. When it does, it's going to come suddenly. You know, all hells are just going to break loose all of a sudden. You know, like I said, by the time you Jakes realize that, it's going to be too late. Because again, what is it going to take for you Jakes to understand? I'm going to read this in Isaiah chapter 19. Isaiah chapter 19, verse 17, it says, "And the land of Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. Everyone that maketh mention thereof shall be afraid in himself because of the counsel of the Lord of hosts, which he hath determined against it." And you see, again, you know, part of the counsel of the Lord, man, is that, hey, you know, this place, it has to go down. America's not going to flourish forever. Eventually, these plagues are going to hit Babylon the Great. All right. You know, like I said, by the time you Jakes realize it, 2/3 of Jake, by the time they realize it, man, it's gonna be too late, because what's it gonna take for Jake to get it when them pack of Newports start going up? You know, the what do you call it? The black and milds. You know, that's when Jake is gonna start getting it. You know, whatever Jake smokes, I don't know what Jake be on, but you know, when that shit starts going up, you know, and that's what's gonna cause Jake pretty much to start tearing shit up out here. Because it said in Atlanta, Judah shall be a terror unto Egypt. That's when Jake's going to start tearing shit up. That's when Jake is going to start, that's when Jake is going to get roused up. Because once Judah gets roused up, you see Judah being the head tribe, that's when the other nations, they follow suit, When once Judah gets roused up, that's when the other tribes are going to start, they're going to follow after. And that's when Jake is going to be tearing shit up out here. You just had a see if I look this up real quick. Because you see, the Lord puts that spirit on Jake to get roused up, and then Esau, he throws a bone at Jake, and rocks Jake right back to sleep. It happens time in and time out. Jake gets roused up, Esau, he throws a bone at him, and they get rocked right back to sleep. Well, eventually it's going to get to a point where Jake's going to get roused up, and there's not going to be anything Esau he's going to be able to do. Eventually it's going to get to that point. Because, you see Esau, man, he's trying to have a controlled chaos, controlled demolition, so to say. But it's going to get to the point where it's going to be out of his control, man. It's going to be nothing that Esau can do. The top wicked elites, there's not going to be nothing he can do. But you just had this. I'm going to just read this. It says, a man dies after being pinned down, tased, punched by officers. Now I got to see if this was a Jake. More than likely. It's cops responding to a domestic violence case, I think. They cops detained a man, and he ended up losing his life. But you see stuff like that, what they call police brutality, right? Like I said, stuff like that. Like I said, it gets Jake roused up. And then for a minute you'll see protests, riots, whatever, marching, whatever. And like I said, Esau, he throws a bone at Jake, and then they get rocked right back to sleep, man. But like I said, eventually it's going to get so ridiculous out here, man. To the point of no return. You see? Well, like I said, man, how about Shemal Shai stirring all this up, man? Go ahead and play this next video.
Ecuador, where after massive clashes broke out in several cities, the Ecuadorian president, Guillermo Lasso, has now declared a state of emergency. Defending his decision of imposing an emergency, Lasso, in a statement, said that he is committed in defending his capital and the country. The decree further enables the Ecuadorian president to do three things. That is, deploy armed forces to maintain law and order in the country. Second, the suspension of civil rights. And third, declare curfews. Now, the country has been mired by violent protests. Demonstrators are raising slogans against the government's economic policies. Their demands include reducing cost of fuel and price caps on agricultural goods. They are also demanding the Ecuadorian president, Guillermo Lasso, to freeze the price of gasoline and further declare a moratorium on small farmers' bank debts. Lastly, they want the government to limit oil and mining expansion in the country. And in a bid to ease grassroots anger, Lasso has announced a small increase in a monthly subsidy, which is paid to Ecuador's poorest. Oil producer Ecuador has been hit by rising inflation, unemployment, and poverty exacerbated by the coronavirus pandemic.
So you see, man, hey, people are standing up. Like I said, and this is going on over here. We got these protests. The cost of everything is going up. Hey, people are demanding these. Can never pronounce this word, but people are demanding those moratoriums. I think that's what you call it. for the whole rent thing, right? Because again, there's the fact that the cost of everything is going up, and the paychecks are the same, man. You see, like I said, people for the most part in these other countries, man, they have sense to see these things, and they're actually, taking action. Meanwhile, over here in the States, and, people see the gas going up almost on a daily basis, and it's, they're just like, well, oh well, oh well, like it's like it's normal, when this isn't normal. You see, again, the fact you got gas prices going up almost on a daily basis or every other day, man. This we saw a small glimpse of that with out there in Kazakhstan. The gas was going up, and as well as other things, but they tore that place up. Overnight the gas went up. They were tearing that place up, man. And these people, they're making these demands like, nah, man, y'all need to do something. People are standing up to their local governments and politicians and things of that nature. People that are supposed to be in these, supposed to be looking out for the people. But, people are more and more starting to find out that, man, these governments, man, they're corrupt, and they're actually not for the people. And the people are actually standing up, man. Like I said, meantime, over here in the States, people are just, the gas going up, everything's going up, and, it's just, oh, well, it's normal. We'll bounce back. No, it's not going to bounce back. It's not going to get better. It's only going to get worse. So, like I said, man, by the time you Jays come to find this out, man, it's going to be too late. Get on to the next video.
Fuel prices are on fire in Pakistan. For the third time in less than a month, fuel prices have been increased. This time, prices of petroleum products have been hiked by 59 Pakistani rupees per litre. The government in Pakistan has raised the petrol prices by more than 84 per litre in the last 20 days. Now, it is the third such raise within the last 20 days by the coalition government led by Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz. With a rise of 24 rupees per litre, petrol prices soared to over 233 rupees per litre. Announced for diesel, the prices for which have been raised by 59 rupees. It will be available at 263 a litre starting today. Now, the move effectively abolished the subsidies on petroleum products in Pakistan. While announcing the measure, Finance Minister Miftah Ismail has categorically stated that the government will not bear any loss on petroleum products from now on. The finance minister called the price increase inevitable to save the country from the default. He also tried to justify the move by saying that the government had no choice but to pass on the impact of the international prices to consumers.
And, they're using these excuses about why they got to jack the prices up to curb this inflation. They got to jack the prices up to curb this inflation so they won't, these countries, they don't want to default, and unfortunately for the consumer, us, they pretty much, they got to take it out on us, man. Like the stores, man, a lot of these, the grocery stores, man, they're not getting the supplies so fluently like they were before, right? And pretty much because again, to make up for the lack, again, they have to take it out on the consumer. And this is why we see the price of things going up. But you see, people see this and they're taking action. This is why they're taking action. And they're, like I said, man, they're they're demanding that their governments do something. But over here, whole time, these people, man, they're just they're just so focused on the wrong things, man. All these distractions. At one point it was the whole Will Smith slap, the slap heard around the world, right? And then you had the whole with this guy Johnny Depp, that whole case. You see all these other different distractions and things, but meanwhile in these other countries, man, they're tearing shit up because it's not just regular protests and rioting. No, man, these people they are tearing shit up to where you got curfews, military being deployed out there in Sri Lanka, man. It's getting hot, man. It's getting violent because of the fuel shortages. They have to. I think they deployed. It was either the I think it was the military. They got the military stationed at these particular gas stations just to so to say keep the peace or whatever, because hey, it's getting violent. These protests and these riots, man, people are dying. So it's getting hectic, man. It's getting crazy. Out here in Pakistan, the gas prices been going up. Like I said, man, over here, gas prices going up almost every day, every other day, every couple of days, going up a few cents, right? And it's normal to these Americans. Well, the same thing's going on in places like Pakistan and other places, and they're doing something about it, man. They're tearing shit up. You see, you also got protests in Iraq. All right, because from what I was looking into, let me see if I can pull it up real quick. And you see, that's another thing. Like they got the curfews going out. These different places, they got curfews, declaring all these state of emergencies. Right? They're even having these what do you call it? Like the internet blackouts. Right? Cutting off the internet so they can quote unquote, they say is due to so they won't. People can't, link up and come together, for the violent protests or whatever. So that they got to cut the internet so people can't connect and come together or whatever. But, but yeah, man, protests in Iraq, I'm trying to look it up real quick. Like it says, people on temporary contracts are uprising. We were wronged by the House of Representatives, and it did not treat us fairly. We demanded full contracts for those who have been 2 years in service, but unfortunately, the original draft of full contract was taken out 10 minutes before the voting process in the parliament, and they replaced it with one that doesn't contain it. It goes on to say, daily wage employees and oil companies demand to be returned to their jobs after their services were ended unfairly. Anti-riot police surrounding the protests. It says, after demanding the central government and the House of Representatives and the marginalization of Decision 315, we warned them by cutting off Barca totally, but they underestimated us once again. Today, our demand is the fulfillment of Decision 315, just same as the rest of decisions. It says hundreds of protesters cut off the Barca Baghdad highway on Saturday in an attempt to pressure the Iraqi government to give them full job opportunities in oil companies. Most of the protesters used to be daily wage workers who were promised full-time jobs by the government. However, they claimed their services were ended suddenly and the promises of full-time employment didn't materialize. The protest started at the Al Sidra checkpoint outside Barca, preventing trucks, officials, and oil companies employees from entering the city. They blockaded the highway with burning tires, and anti-riot police were deployed to the area. Basra is Iraq's second largest province and home to about 70% of the OPEC members' vast oil reserves. So you see, man, hey, people have had enough. All right. What's it going to take for you Americans, you simple Americans, and more specifically, you Jakes? All right. You simple-minded Jakes, man. What's it going to take? You know, protests in India. You know, you got protests in India. You know, because something about the which basically, when you look into it, it's basically a Ponzi scheme. All right, but they got some type of reforms dealing with the you know, people wanting to enter the military. You know, and you know they're protesting about it because again, it's basically a Ponzi scheme. You know, and hey, out there in India, they're not having it. They're not playing that, man. And you got all hell breaking loose out there, man. All hell breaking loose out there, man. And you know, violent protests I'm talking about, man. Violent protest. Another place they're cutting off the internet. And people are dying. You know, hey, it's the Lord's, he's turning up out here, man. He's stirring things up. I'm gonna get this real quick. In the book of Isaiah. Because again, man, hey, Yahweh Shemel Shai, he's stirring things up, man. You know, he's causing things to happen on the earth. You know, the hopeful elect, man, hey, we just got to sit back, you know, and just watch the show, man, because it's happening, man. You know, prophecy speaking. I'm going to read this in Isaiah chapter Isaiah chapter 42. Isaiah 42, verse 13. The Lord shall go forth as a mighty man. It says, he shall stir up jealousy like a man of war. He shall cry, yea, roar. He shall prevail against his enemies. All right. So it said, he shall stir up jealousy. So you see, man. All right. Yahweh Shemel Shai is stirring up that perverse spirit, man. You know, in Babylon, America, but throughout the four corners of the earth, the Lord is stirring. He's causing things to happen on the earth, man. He's causing things to happen on the earth. You know, and like I said, hey, the hopefully, like, we just gotta sit back and because there's more. You know, there's a lot more. You know, a lot of things are happening. A lot of things are going on, man. You know, and as brother's been saying, man, it's hard to keep up with everything that's going on, man. But hey. Like I said, man, the Lord is he's fulfilling what he said he was going to do, you know, and he's causing things to happen on the earth. But hopefully this is edifying. All praises to Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai. Double honors to the apostles and elders of Great Millstone. Yahweh B'Shem Yahweh Shai Barak a thumb to you hopefully elect out there. Keep watching, man. Stay on your watch. Stay prayed up. We're almost home, man. Lord's on until next time. Shalom.